My name is Colby Cash. I'm a father to two boys, Aiden, my 10-year-old, almost 11, and Elijah, my almost 2-year-old. I've got a wonderful wife, and I love my little family. And I'm also very blessed in that I am a dog trainer. I like to think that that means that I have more dog friends than anyone else. Not to say that every interaction is friendly when I meet a dog, but many are, and it brings me a lot of joy and like peace and fulfillment that when I see dogs, even if I haven't trained them in a year or multiple years, they're like real happy to see me, like noticeably more excited than just another stranger. I got into this because I had a bad dog, and if you haven't ever watched my video of me telling my dog Lily's story, I would really suggest checking that out. Mostly not because it's like a great video, but because her story deserves to be told. The part of that story that matters for what I do now is that Lily was about 2 years old. I was living in an apartment, and she was terrible. She potty training was a disaster. She jumped all over us. She stole things. She chewed things up. She barked all the time. She just every bad behavior that seems so like simple to solve now. She had it. Whatever it is, whatever you're thinking of, you're like, oh yeah, my dog does that. Yeah, she did it. But for me, the final straw that broke the camel's back was I came home from work one day. I walk in my front door. She's excited to see me. She jumps up. She scratches me down the face. Knocked my glasses off and left 4 big welts down the middle of my face. And it was like that moment when I was like, okay, I've got to learn how to train this dog or I'm going to get rid of her. And that's just where I was at, like as a dog owner. I didn't know anything about training. It was pretty common when I was a kid that if you had some severe behavior issue out of a dog, you just shot that dog. Obviously, I am against that now, but that's just like what I grew up around, what I knew, whatever. So what I did was I went to Tractor Supply, and they have like a little magazine rack. And so Lily was a Great Pyrenees and Pit Bull mix. Well, they had a magazine on that rack that was like how to train your pit bull. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna train my pit bull. And so I got this magazine, and it talked about jumping and the things that it suggested to do are what I'm going to mention next. When you come in your door, like say, from going outside or coming home from work or whatever, you have a treat. Okay, keep that treat in your fist. You don't just let it go for nothing. You just have it in your fist, and you kind of cup your fist like this, so the treat's in there and they can smell it, but they just can't get it. Okay, so I walk in my door. I stay totally neutral. I don't say a thing. I don't do anything like that. What I did was, she jumps up on me, and I just get that treat in front of her nose, and she's like, holy crap, this dude's got treats. And slowly, my hand just kind of wanders down to my side, and then I just kind of let it hang naturally. I'm still not letting go of the treat. And then what I do is I just wait, right? So here she is, she's standing, so my hand's kept like that. She's like pestering my hand, like maybe chomping on it, whatever. And I'm just totally neutral, totally silent. I'm not saying anything. And then finally, even if it's just out of sheer boredom, she backs off and sits down. And at that moment, I just open my hand and she got the treat. Now, if you think about this in baby steps to just not jumping at all, every day that whole beginning part got less and less, until finally she was keeping 4 paws on the floor, but I was still holding out for the sit. And then when I'd come in and she'd immediately sit, knowing what to expect, This took about 2 weeks, maybe, of 100% consistency. But when she did that, then like as soon as she did it, she'd get the treat, and then I'd start loving on her, and I'd start the process over if she jumped after that. But I just worked on it, and I would say maybe a little bit over 2 weeks, and I'd pretty much resolved that jumping problem. And from that moment on, I was hooked. I was hooked. The way I grew up, I never could have imagined that changing a dog's behavior that I could even have an influence on it. I thought dogs were just good or they're bad, and to know, like, hey, actually, if you know what you're doing, it's pretty simple, kind of, not always, that's the truth of it. If it was super simple, I'd be out of a job. But in many cases, it's pretty simple. And I think, I didn't know it at the time, but what I learned from that was that if you can find something that your dog desires, something that they want, right, and you can provide that thing when they do the thing you want, then you can radically change their behavior.